Major news on the Elon Musk Twitter front, with breaking news that Elon is set to serve as the interim CEO after the deal closes. Maybe he won't, but he's expected to. We also have news on new institutional investors that are getting involved with a $7 billion influx from friends of Elon Musk to buy Twitter. Now, it's interesting news because apparently one of the individuals who has provided funding to buy Twitter is none other than that Saudi prince that previously said that Elon Musk's deal was no good. Perhaps he's come around realizing there is money to be made in this venture. Jack Dorsey chiming in after another investor announced a major influx into Twitter, saying that basically the company needs to be taken private for a little while. This could be a major transformation of the platform that is good, or it could just be smoke and mirrors. Elon Musk operates Tesla plants in China. He's praised China before. I don't think we should blindly just trust him because he's come out and said all of these good things that we want to hear, all these jokes and memes, making you think that he's on your side. Now, I think he's doing a good job. And I can only really say, let's be optimistic and see what comes from this, because it's better than the alternative. And seeing everything happening now, it is a dramatic change. Perhaps the powers that be, the elites, realize they are losing this battle and they have two choices: to go down with the ship like Blockbuster Video when they failed to buy Netflix, or commandeer the ship, accept the tides are turning, accept the winds have changed, and you've got to go with it. If they persist too long in trying to sail against the winds, they will lose and their ship will sink. So, we also have major news on our end, and a very big announcement as to the infrastructure of Timcast.com and our plans for the future, which we'll need to get into in a minute, and it's amazing news. But the other element of this story is that Bill Gates is all angry. He says Elon Musk could actually make this worse, and I love it. The media is referring to this as a feud igniting between the billionaires. Of course, we also have government getting involved. You have the Disinformation Governance Board, but interestingly, now you have Democrats and Republicans slamming Biden's administration and their DHS for launching this Disinformation Governance Board. While I want everyone to have healthy skepticism and be prepared that this may not be the end of censorship, there is some good news on the horizon. But I don't want to come out and just start saying everything's great, Elon's the savior, and it's all going to be perfect. As much as I am a big fan of what Elon is doing with Starlink, with Starship, with SpaceX, all this stuff's really amazing. We must remain vigilant. Pay attention. You can't just assume someone's going to come in and save you, because what happens then is someone will sell you snake oil. You think all is taken care of, and then rug gets pulled out from underneath you. So let's go through this. There are some Democrats that are challenging what's going on, but there's also a consortium of 26 leftist NGOs that are slamming Elon Musk's attempt to buy Twitter. This is an information war. It's a culture war. And in it, there will be deceptive and manipulative tactics. So we've got to pay attention to figure out what's really going on behind the scenes. But I think it's good news all around. And I think the announcement we have for Timcast.com is going to be, it's massive. It is, we've got more work on the horizon, but we have done a major infrastructure swap, which I'll get into in just a moment with the announcement. I already tweeted it out, so maybe many of you know this, but we've got a lot of work going on behind the scenes. We at Timcast.com are in this fight along with all of you. And the changes we've made and the infrastructure we are working on, joining and building, is going to make us all more resilient to censorship. But let's read the first story about Elon Musk being CEO. Interesting. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com and become a member to help support our work. As a member, you'll get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast Monday through Thursday at 11 p.m. The show can get quite spicy over on our own website, where we are more resilient to censorship. We also made a major change, which I mentioned, and I'll get into greater detail after we get through the news about our infrastructure, but it's all thanks to you as members. Because you are members, we are able to support new infrastructure, challenge the establishment, culture jam as marketing, meaning putting up billboards in Times Square like we did, and producing this members-only content, hiring journalists and more columnists, and we're doing it. Bringing on people who are going to challenge the machine, call out the lies. It is thanks to you. If you want to see more of this, head over to timcast.com, support our work. But don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Right now, take that URL, post it everywhere. Let's read the first story from CNBC. Elon Musk expected to serve as temporary Twitter CEO after deal closes. An SEC filing on Thursday revealed Musk secured approximately $7.14 billion in equity commitments from friends and other investors to buy Twitter. Faber said Musk handpicked the investors, commitments ranging from $1 billion from Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison to $5 million from Honeycomb Asset Management, which invested in SpaceX. Faber added that Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey may back it, and Musk is talking to him about the possibility of contributing shares immediately or before the closing of the merger. This is really, really interesting. Some of the people involved might just be committing their own Twitter shares to the deal to give Elon control to take Twitter private. Twitter CEO Parag Agrawal has only led the company for a few months after assuming the helm from Dorsey. Until now, there hadn't been much discussion about whether Musk's takeover of the company would lead to a leadership shakeup. Last month, Reuters reported Musk had lined up a new CEO for Twitter, citing a source familiar with the matter. Now, apparently, it may actually be Elon Musk himself. If Jack Dorsey really does commit shares to the purchase, then I kind of believe he's sincere when he wants to make these changes. And now you've got people saying Twitter should go on the blockchain. I don't know if I completely agree with that, but it's interesting because this is part of Jack Dorsey's initial plans from several years ago. Could it be that Jack wanted to make these changes, but they couldn't? They wouldn't let him? So now he's using Elon Musk? There was a story in the Wall Street Journal about Elon Musk's shadow crew, the group of people whispering in his ears to take over this company because he had the power to do so. One of those people allegedly was Jack Dorsey. Agrawal told employees during a company-wide town hall meeting last month that the future of Twitter is uncertain under Musk. Once the deal closes, we don't know which direction the platform will go, Agrawal reportedly said when asked whether the company may allow former U.S. President Trump to return. Musk's acquisition of Twitter comes at a key time for the company. Agrawal has said he would focus on growing Twitter's daily active user base, blah, blah, blah. Musk told investors that he felt Twitter's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization margin was too low, and the company has too many engineers not doing enough, Faber said, citing sources familiar. Musk also pledged to make a company a magnet for talent. Shares of Twitter climbed as much as 3% on Thursday morning. Tesla's stock slid more than 6%. Representatives from Twitter declined to comment. Well, I'm going to be heading to Austin in a couple of weeks. Perhaps I will have a conversation about what's to come in this space. This is going to get really interesting, guys. Elon Musk is facing FTC antitrust review on Twitter alongside Stock Probe. Did you think it would be so easy that Elon could come in? Yo, the Department of Homeland Security, whose mission is anti-terror, has a disinformation governance board being set up. Did you think they would just sit back and be like, go for it, Elon? We don't want to control the flow of information in this country and propagandize our citizens into voting for who we want them to vote for? Bloomberg reports. The FTC is reviewing Elon Musk's $44 billion Twitter Inc. takeover, a person familiar with the deal said, setting up a deadline in the next month for the agency to decide whether to conduct an in-depth review of the transaction. Under U.S. merger law, Musk is required to notify the FTC and Justice Department of the transaction and wait at least 30 days before closing to allow an investigation into potential antitrust concerns. The FTC can ask for additional information, issuing what's known as a second request, which would further delay closing. An FTC spokesman declined to comment. Spokespeople for Twitter and Musk didn't respond for comment either. Antitrust experts don't expect the deal to raise antitrust concerns. However, Open Markets, the anti-monopoly nonprofit group, a liberal group, mind you, where Democratic FTC Chair Lina Khan got her start in antitrust, has urged the agency to block the deal, arguing that it would give Musk too much control over free speech platforms. Now, this is absurd. What about Jack Dorsey? What about anyone else involved in Twitter? They didn't have too much power. Get out of here with this. They say the FTC is separately probing whether Musk should have notified the agencies when he acquired a 9% stake in the company. The FTC generally doesn't take action if it finds a notification failure was accidental, but the agency can seek fines up to $43,792 per day if the failure was flagrant. On Wednesday, House Republicans demanded information from Khan on whether the FTC had taken action in response to Open Market's statement, alleging the group was seeking to leverage its prior relationship with the FTC chair to suppress free speech online. Now, slow down there a minute. This may just be routine. What is interesting in who has actually stepped in to invest with Elon Musk. Investors include the Saudi prince who once opposed the deal, along with Larry Ellison and cryptocurrency exchange Binance. Really? The Saudi prince, you say? I wonder what Elon is doing, perhaps realizing they lost. Many of these investors said, okay, Elon, you've won. We'll pledge our shares. From Timcast.com. Among those listed on the filing to help finance the $44 billion buyout are Saudi Arabia's Prince Alawid bin Talal, who committed $1.9 billion worth of shares to back Musk's proposed buyout. The Saudi prince had opposed the buyout bid, saying the price offered by Musk did not come close to the inherent value of Twitter, given its potential growth. However, he said it was great to connect with his new friend, Musk, on Thursday. I believe you will be an excellent leader for Twitter to propel and maximize its great potential, he said in the tweet. Kingdom Holding Company and I look forward to roll our $1.9 billion in the new Twitter and join you on this exciting journey. Perhaps what Elon was really saying, you want to stay involved in Twitter? You can, but I get control. And these probably thought it's better to have one hand on the steering wheel than to give up total control for some cash. They don't need the cash. They're already rich. It's the thing about investing people need to understand. For those that aren't accredited investors, if someone comes to me and says, I've got X amount of dollars invested in a stock, would you like cash for it? In many times, many circumstances, I may be like, I don't need the cash. I need the investment. And if Elon Musk is going to raise the stock value in 3 years, why not just keep my involvement? What am I going to do with the cash? For people who live paycheck to paycheck or don't have the investments, they might need to liquefy some assets when they need to pay bills. But for the ultra wealthy, for a prince, they probably don't need to. Now, I want to point out Elon Musk's Twitter avatar is I believe it's him holding some kind of rocket ship, because we have this story, which is let me see. I think it's not necessarily relevant to any news, but I do think it's funny. Elon Musk gets into Twitter spat over NFT art. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm using the Daily Beast. They're fake news, but okay. Elon Musk used the Bored Ape collage, which sold for, I think, 24 million. What did they say? Bored Ape Yacht Club sold for 24.4 million. He was called out for it, and Elon responded, I don't know, seems kind of fungible. Ooh, that was a good one. Yeah, the NFTs, man, they're tanking in value. I wonder if that's Elon's fault because he's just using it like do something. We got a few more things I want to point out before we get into the major announcement from Timcast.com. Ben Horowitz.eth says, first, some news. We are joining Elon Musk's bid for Twitter and investing $400 million into the company. We invested because we believe in EV and Jack's vision to connect the world, and we believe in Elon's brilliance to finally make it what it's meant to be. While Twitter has great promise as a public square, it suffers from a myriad of difficult issues ranging from bots to abuse to censorship. Being a public company solely reliant on an advertising business model exacerbates all of these. Elon is the one person we know, and perhaps the only person in the world, who has the courage, brilliance, and skills to fix all of these and build the public square that we all hoped for and deserve. We are excited to be part of this mission. DSO Protocol said, let's move Twitter on chain. That's blockchain. That's fascinating and would make you, for the most part, censor-proof. Seriously, people could say insane things and it would be difficult to remove. Very interesting. Jack Dorsey chimed in response to the myriad of issues, bots, abuse, and censorship, saying, this is true. It needs cover for a while. Perhaps this mission is all part of the plan. They needed a way to take Twitter private so they could enact changes without being required, without having to adhere to some fiduciary duty to shareholders. Now, you can make the arguments that what you're doing may cost us money in the short term, but it's for long-term benefit, and you could still probably get sued and be liable. So this is big news, and I believe good things are coming, and I believe Elon Musk is a funny fella. But let's talk about where we are in terms of the censorship. And don't forget, Bill Gates is lurking around every corner going, yeah, like some kind of evil comic book villain, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tim Pool. I'm excited to announce that Timcast.com is now officially hosted on Rumble Video's cloud services and video hosting. This is step one in utilizing and building more resilient infrastructure for communication amid the culture war and mass censorship. Let me expand upon this. Our website at timcast.com, where you will remember, is operating on Rumble's infrastructure. Is Rumble perfect? Of course they are not. I challenge them on some of their positions. Are they better? Yes. They've got backing from some individuals that I believe do not want to see censorship. To a certain degree, it's better. Not perfect, but by being on Rumble, we are more resilient to censorship. We've got other plans. Other infrastructure changes are coming. But the goal here is to make sure that we are not going to be at the whims of, say, Amazon Web Services or Google. Go ahead. Come at us. Rumble's got our back. To the degree they do, it's better than Amazon. Dan Bongino chiming in saying, awesome news. Because, of course, Dan Bongino is involved in Rumble. But let me explain. Before, when we first started, we used Rumble's video player for our members-only video segments. Why? Because we say naughty words. Not only do our members segment involve a lot of swearing, but they involve conversations that the Silicon Valley powers that be do not like. Questions about particular social issues that would get us banned on other platforms. I would love to have these conversations on YouTube. You can't. Not all of them. Some of them you can. I mean, for the most part, we're not that bad. But we talk about things that are censorable and against the rules. And I don't want to say they're all against the rules, but we're very not family friendly. We used Rumble's infrastructure because initially we were on Vimeo. Vimeo has crazy rules. Didn't want to be on Vimeo. Vimeo was expensive. And I said, we need to find a way to get off this because they could ban us. That was the fear. And they've banned people before. Rumble came along and we said, we got to go with Rumble's infrastructure. So we did. We've had no issues. Rumble is now building a cloud service, meaning you can run your websites entirely off of their servers, not just video, but text as well. That means our articles are Rumble now. When you share an article from timcast.com, you are helping Rumble. Good. Rumble is not perfect. Nobody is, but we are all trying our best. It would be hypocritical of me if I did not make every move to get away from these Silicon Valley platforms. But there are challenges here. I think if you don't like Disney, you don't like the grooming and all that stuff, you should not be on Disney Plus. But it has been ineffective to tell people to just shut down Netflix and Amazon and Disney. We need alternatives. So we have one. The alternative we have here is that timcast.com produces news, commentary, cultural shows, and we do it all with non-Silicon Valley infrastructure because I want to make sure that we are putting our money where our mouth is, and we don't want to get banned. I think it's fine if you guys want to read news at whatever website, if you want to watch Disney shows. I like Marvel stuff. We're going to see Doctor Strange today. I'm a fan of it. I don't think we can outright boycott everything because the culture is dominated. What we can do is encourage alternatives. The Daily Wire is building up their movie catalog, their TV show catalog. Good. Go watch them and support them. Enjoy the shows you like. But over time, as we build more infrastructure, as we build more content, as we make more shows, next up is our TV app. So you can watch all of our shows and content, not just Timcast, but Pop Culture Crisis, Tales from the Inverted World, and other shows we're planning on making. Cast Castle, Chicken City will be on an app on your TV. So just like Netflix and just like Disney, we will have an app you can pop open and watch our shows. We got to start from the ground up. I don't have the money to make a blockbuster film. We have the funds to do some crazy things. But as each and every one of you become a member at timcast.com, we get more opportunity to do these things, and we will do them. We're going to make more shows. Now, I don't think in year one we're going to have 3 million paying subscribers, say like Disney does. I mean, Disney is the legacy. But I think we can hit 100, 200K. And that's going to mean we will have a studio, we will have movies, and it will be massive. That's what we need to build. And it will operate on infrastructure from companies like Rumble, not Silicon Valley. And then in 3 to 5 years, there will be a rival economy where you will not be able to censor us. That is the plan. We can't just complain about this stuff. We have to step up and do something about it. Rest assured, I will. You know, I complain on the internet a whole lot about the censorship. And at a certain point, I said, we need to do something. Here's what we do with Timcast.com. You think Chicken City is funny? It is. Chicken City is fun. It's family content. Mom and their kids can watch the chickens. They can put it on the background. It is low budget, high return, relatively cheap to do, family friendly. Watch the animals make funny sounds and be animals. One of the reasons I want to do Chicken City, for one, I think chickens are funny and I like them. I think the concept of a successful chicken show is funny and it's culture jammy-ish. I also think kids should see animals. Kids should understand what chickens are. We used to grow up watching chickens, watching farm animals, and everything that entails, and understanding life. That's taken away from us as we move to cities and urbanized. I want to bring that back. We're producing cartoons. We want to make culture. Pop culture crisis. We want to engage with pop culture and comment on it and be involved in that conversation. To be a part of it is to sway it and influence it. Timcast, we want to talk about what we don't like and what we challenge. It is all about shaping this world so that our kids, your kids, I don't have kids yet, full disclosure, I know, but so that the future of this country and this world will retain the values of personal responsibility and individual liberty. And personal responsibility does extend upwards to community responsibility as well. No more will people just be going around saying, I am entitled to this without doing the work to get it. We are trying to instill those values in everything we do, but secondary. No one's going on Chicken City and telling you, here's today's message about liberty. No, it's just fun content. It's to expand our sphere of influence and to make sure we don't get suspended. Let me show you New York Post's editorial board. PayPal's independent media wipeout. Another commentary. From the left, PayPal indie media wipeout. The online payment platform PayPal, without explanation, suspended the accounts of a series of individual journalists and media outlets for a half-year review, claiming vague violations of its user agreements, fumes Matt Taibbi. One victim who actually spoke to a PayPal human learned the company plans to keep any payments it is now frozen if it decides there was a violation. The outlets are indeed edgy, but this ups the ante again on the content moderation movement, since going after cash is a big jump from simply deleting speech, with a much bigger chilling effect. It's especially true for the alternative media world, where money has long been notoriously tight. If the issue is PayPal's ban on providing false, inaccurate, or misleading information, it's an ominous echo of Team Biden's dystopian disinformation governance board. Yo, PayPal should not be in the business of doing things like this. And that's why, look, we use PayPal. That's why we need to make sure we move away, and we are. I like Stripe. We use Stripe principally. When you sign up, typically when you sign up, you use Stripe. You can use PayPal because we want to have the options. Like I said, I don't think we can just come out and terminate all of the existing infrastructure. It would be like going to New York and being like, I need to get from Manhattan to Brooklyn, but I can't stand the city. So instead of walking across the Williamsburg Bridge, I'm taking a boat. Okay, dude. Use the bridge. It's the easiest. But rest assured, the police could kick you off that bridge and then you're in trouble. So we do need to find alternative paths and ultimately set up alternative infrastructure so we don't get shut down like this. I think it's wrong, man. I think it's wrong. Mr. Bill Gates, the establishment, the institutions. He questions Elon Musk's goals with Twitter. He could make it worse. You know what's funny is that I do that gag voice for Bill Gates where I talk like this. And I'm actually just doing the Family Guy imitation of him because that's how he talks on Family Guy. But when you listen to the dude, he actually does kind of sound like that. So Bill Gates has warned that Elon Musk could make Twitter worse. Speaking at the Wall Street Journal CEO Summit Wednesday, Gates said it's unclear how Musk will change Twitter if he takes ownership while also raising concerns about the spread of misinformation on social media platforms. The Microsoft co-founder admitted that Musk's track record at other companies is impressive, hailing his time at the helm of Tesla and SpaceX, calling it mind-blowing. I kind of doubt that will happen this time, but we should have an open mind and never underestimate Elon, so it's not all bad. Gates, who has been replaced by Musk as the world's richest person in recent years, went on to question what Musk's goal is with Twitter. How does he feel about something on Twitter that says vaccines kill people or that Bill Gates is tracking people, Gates said. Okay. First of all, vaccines have their history of like vaccine injuries exist. This is the strange thing. Like, what is Bill Gates trying to say here? I personally think that's between you and your doctor, and get a good doctor. I say that all the time because I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be your medical expert. I do not like Bill Gates being the medical expert. Nah, it should be you. You go to a doctor. The doctor gives you his opinion, and then maybe you get a second opinion. I don't know, whatever. So who's Bill Gates to come out and be like, I believe this, that, or otherwise, and he's allowed to say it? Bill Gates tracking people, huh? Is Microsoft Windows not tracking people? What do you mean by this, dude? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Microsoft tracks people. Is that controversial? In my opinion, Microsoft tracks your data for use, and it's like, who wouldn't? Why wouldn't they? They need to know what you're doing and how you're doing it, right? Maybe not. What are his goals for what it ends up being? Does that match this idea of less extreme falsehoods spreading so quickly and weird conspiracy theories? Does he share that goal or not? Bill Gates, you're an authoritarian, and I hope you lose. Some people believe wacky things. Sometimes those wacky things turn out to be true. What more can I say? No one should have the right to determine what we can or can't talk about. Period. There are certain restrictions. Don't incite violence. Fine, I guess. You can, in fact, yell fire in a crowded theater. I recommend not doing it, but it's not illegal. You can get thrown out. That's a misconception. You see, Bill Gates is the kind of guy who's like, I don't want people to believe things that aren't true, and I determine what's true or not, so they should be banned. Okay, you've been wrong, dude. So many people have been wrong. If anyone has proven free speech is a must, it is the establishment and the media, who have pumped out lie after lie, falsehood after falsehood. Even that Nina Jankowicz is putting out falsehoods. Bill Gates said meeting evil Jeffrey Epstein was a mistake. You want me to take advice from you, bro? You made some really bad mistakes that even you admitted. I mean, apparently it's reported that you cheated on your wife and you regretted that. I'm not going to sit here and take advice from you, dude. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Elon Musk ragging on him is actually quite funny. And, you know, I'm not interested in hearing what authoritarians want to do with a platform that they already dominated and have lost control over. From Timcast.com, a look at the group pressuring Musk to maintain Twitter censorship policies. Arabella Advisors, an open letter from Accountable Tech, Media Matters, Ultraviolet, and other leftist organizations demands that advertisers on Twitter pressure Elon Musk to maintain the status quo at Twitter. The letter issues 3 core demands. The first is that public figures like Trump are not allowed to return to the platform, and that users on Twitter continue to be removed for their behavior while off the platform. Next, the signatories declare that algorithmic transparency must protect discriminated communities from bad actors. Lastly, they praise Twitter's commitment to transparency. Please. Elon Musk said, who funds these organizations that want to control your access to information? Let's investigate. Interesting. I wonder if those funding these organizations are fully aware of what the organizations are doing. Timcast decided to answer that question. In brief, the letter is the product of a progressive dark money operation headed by Arabella Advisors, and the financial backers are fully aware of what their money is used for. Arabella Advisors manages Windward Fund, New Venture Fund, North Fund, Hopewell Fund, 1630 Fund, financing Ultraviolet, Accountable Tech, Media Matters for America, and they wrote the Twitter letter. Media Matters likes to write fake news and conspiracy theories. My favorite was that they recently said, Timcast panel opposes gay marriage or something like that. And it was like me, this guy, Alec Bersowitz, I'm going to get your name wrong, and Seamus. And Seamus was the only one who opposed gay marriage, yet they try to make it seem like we all did. Dude, I've never opposed gay marriage. I still am in favor of gay marriage. That's my show. I mean, if one person has an opinion and we argued against it, spare me, Media Matters, but try. Politico describes Arabella as an unprecedented gusher of secret money. The billions of dollars funneled through Arabella to these nonprofits are then further dispersed among a series of faux grassroots organizations. Interesting. We go into great detail at timcast.com. I'm not going to read every single element of this. Suffice it to say, this is the information you get as a member at timcast.com. And it's exactly why we need infrastructure. Because PayPal bans people. And that's bad. So if you're a member at Timcast, just keep that in mind. A lot of people have said they don't like PayPal. A lot of people hit us up and said they only want to use PayPal. So we made it an option. That opens us up to great risk, and I hope you realize it. Stripe is much, much better because we've seen commitments from Stripe. We've seen them actually be much better than PayPal. We got some plans. We are not sitting idly by. We are building and implementing the infrastructure behind the scenes. It's coming soon. I cannot wait to make these announcements. You know, I have been just dying to say that we have switched to Rumble for the past couple of weeks as the migration was happening. Because I want to do more than just say words. I want to do. Rumble is building the infrastructure. It's about time we get on board. Now, some people have asked about Rumble's video player and these videos. We put these videos on Rumble. Some people have asked about IRL. In due time, my friends. You got to fish where the fish are. Like I said, go watch Disney. I'm going to go watch, Doctor Strange later. I get it. We don't want to support these companies, but we need to build the alternatives out first. We should not hinder ourselves, cripple ourselves, or ask people to forego what they enjoy until we can offer an alternative. Because telling people, it's like going to someone and being like, you should be a monk and be celibate. They're going to be like, dude, I like being with my wife. I like being with my significant other. It's like, okay. Let's offer up meaning alternatives. Let's say you can find entertaining content over here. In the meantime, do what you enjoy. The real victory comes when we build the infrastructure and say, if you ban us, we'll just go here. We will still exist and you will lose your influence. It's not just about the resilient infrastructure. It's about the competition. PayPal is going to be forced to stop banning people. Otherwise, they will drive themselves out of business. So let's support the alternative infrastructure. Let me give a shout out to our good friend Rand Paul, grilling Mayorkas on disinformation. I don't trust the government to figure out what the truth is. But hey, check this out. Democratic Rep Jim Himes said he's looking at the board from a position of deep skepticism. Democrats and Republicans. Hey, bipartisanship. There you go. I'm good for it. Get that disinformation board out of there. I'm not playing these games. But you go ahead and ban who you want because we're going to build alternative infrastructure. And when you see Twitter failing and struggling, what did Elon Musk say? He said Truth Social exists because Twitter didn't uphold free speech. Competition in your faces. What's next? Rumble Video, Rumble Cloud Services, Rumble Web Services. And then Amazon's going to be like, oh no, we're losing market share. That's market competition right there. And we're going to tell them all, go ahead and ban. We will build alternatives. Whine and cry about it, Bill Gates. Your authoritarianism will not last. We will find a way. We will build the way if we have to. My friends, as members at timcast.com, you are making this possible. When you become a member, you are not just allowing us to write articles. We are doing so much more, from building culture to culture jamming to building infrastructure, and more to come, calling out the lies. There may come a day when we are the establishment. I mean, we're already rivaling key demo viewership for these big networks. There may come a day when we are the establishment. So be it. But there needs to be new, young upstarts to challenge the machine, call out their lies. So long as I'm around leading this ship, we will stay true to our principles. And if there ever comes a point where we become corrupted or maybe the company becomes too big, then we will always do what we can to make sure we are building systems that support the people, personal responsibility, and individual liberty. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at 8 p.m. tonight over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.